Listen, I'm going to tell you something about why strong women fall for the wrong men that will completely change the way you see relationships, maybe even the way you see yourself. Because what you've been told about love, attraction, and healthy connections is upside down. Before you think this is about weakness or low self-esteem, understand that what I'm revealing comes from the deep mechanics of a human mind, the hidden programming that drives our attachments long before logic ever steps in. Everyone believes strong women want strong men, stable men, emotionally available men. But there's a reason so many of them end up with men who drain their energy, question their worth, and keep them hooked in confusion. It's not because they like drama. It's not because they're broken. It's because there's a psychological loop running under the surface, a loop that feeds on tension, validation, and unfinished emotional business from the past. There's a mechanism in your mind that confuses intensity with love. It starts early. Maybe you learned that attention only comes after chaos. That love has to be earned. That peace feels boring. That affection always follows conflict. So when you meet a man who feels calm, stable, predictable, your nervous system doesn't label it as attraction. It labels it as something's missing. But when you meet a man who makes you feel uncertain, who gives you highs and lows, your mind lights up like it's found the one. That's the trap. You're not drawn to him out of love. You're drawn to him because he awakens the same emotional rhythm your childhood wired you to crave. I've seen it so many times. A woman who can conquer the world, run a business, handle anything life throws at her, but loses herself in relationships with men who can't even manage their own emotions. She's addicted to trying to fix him, to be the reason he changes. It's not a conscious addiction, it's biochemical. The dopamine hits after every fight, the relief after every apology, the unpredictable reward cycle that tricks the brain into staying. Until she's caught between empowerment and exhaustion, calling it love because she doesn't know what calm love is supposed to feel like. And here's where it gets darker. Strength in the world doesn't always translate to strength in intimacy. You see, yes, the strong woman has turned her independence into armor. That armor protects her everywhere, except in love. Because deep down, the very strength that keeps her safe becomes the mask that hides her fear of not being loved without it. She unconsciously picks men who trigger that fear again, because she believes proving her worth is how she earns connection. She doesn't choose security. She chooses familiarity. Time and again, I see this. She gives endlessly, forgives endlessly, explains endlessly. But the relationship still drains her. She tells herself, he just doesn't understand love the way I do. But the truth is, she's trying to make him responsible for healing her own emotional wound. It's not logical, it's chemical. The mind always tries to complete its unmet pattern. And until you see the pattern, it owns you. There was this woman I knew, brilliant, independent, articulate. She swore she'd never settle for less. Then she met this man, charming, magnetic, but unpredictable. One day, he'd make her feel seen, desired, alive. The next day, cold silence, criticism, withdrawal. She was too proud to admit it, but I could see the addiction in her eyes. Love had turned into performance. Her strength became survival. Every argument became a test of worth. The stronger she got, the harder she fell. That's the mind's reward mechanism. It makes you chase what hurts you because it confuses that chase with meaning. It's the brain's ancient way of surviving emotional scarcity. When love was scarce in your early environment, your body learned to adapt by working harder for it. That wiring doesn't just disappear because you grew up. It hides inside your attraction template. So even when you think you're choosing freely, your subconscious is choosing familiar pain. But here's the paradox. Strong women rarely tolerate average men. They don't want submission. They want stimulation. They crave someone they can respect, someone who can challenge them. But when that desire meets emotional wounds, challenge easily turns into chaos. Respect turns into fixation. The same fire that fuels their success burns them alive in intimacy. They mistake emotional turbulence for depth when it's actually unresolved programming, chaos dressed as chemistry. Here's the darkest truth about many relationships. People aren't falling in love, they're falling into patterns. You can tell yourself it's different this time, that he's not like the last one. But if you're feeling the same tension, the same anxious waiting, the same, maybe if I love harder, he'll change. It's the same movie with a different actor. The script didn't change. The mind didn't reprogram. For many strong women, boundaries are external, not internal. You can say no to the world, but not to your own loneliness. You can fight for justice, but can't tolerate indifference. You can command respect at work, but crumble when someone you love withdraws affection. That's the silent ache of emotional strength. It feels powerful to the world, but fragile in love. And you compensate by trying harder, doing more, loving stronger. But in psychology, overfunctioning breeds underfunctioning. The more you carry, the less he has to grow. There's also the savior mechanism. You see a wounded man and think your love will heal him. It's noble, it's compassionate, and it's self-sabotage. Because the more you heal him, the more he anchors you to his wound. You start mistaking chaos for authenticity, trauma bonding for intimacy. What feels deep is actually dependency. Two broken circuits feeding each other's illusions. But it's not your fault. Attraction is not moral, it's mechanical. The mind looks for the familiar to feel safe, even if the familiar hurts. That's why therapy advice like just raise your standards rarely works, because attraction doesn't live in logic. You can't rationalize your way out of chemistry built on survival. You have to rewire it through awareness and distance. Let me tell you something. Peace will feel wrong at first. When you start breaking the cycle, calm will feel like emptiness. You want to text a man who hurt you just to feel something again. That's not love dying. That's addiction withdrawing. It's your brain recalibrating from intensity to stability. Learning to stay in peace without mistaking it for boredom is real power. Now let's talk about the expectations gap. Society tells strong women they can have it all. The career, the confidence, the control, and the man who worships them. But relationships aren't built on ideals. They're built on polarity. The more you lean into control, the more you attract chaos unless both sides balance. Power without vulnerability creates emotional distance. Vulnerability without power creates dependency. The healthiest chemistry happens when both coexist. Without that balance, strength turns into exhaustion. So how do you know if you're caught in this dynamic? The test is simple. Ask yourself, do I feel more anxious than seen in this connection? Am I trying to prove my worth instead of being accepted for it? Do I mistake unpredictability for passion? Do I feel peace or relief when he texts me back? Do I confuse love with the challenge to be chosen? If your body stiffens when you read those, the program is running. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your pattern has been exposed. And that awareness is power. Because understanding this doesn't fix the past, but it frees you from repeating it. The wrong man no longer becomes the one who got away. He becomes the mirror that showed me my own wound. And when you finally glimpse that, the addiction breaks. You stop needing to earn what should be freely given. So here's the closing truth. Strong women fall for the wrong men, not because they are weak, but because they mistake struggle for intimacy. Their mind is still chasing the thrill of uncertainty that once felt like love. But love isn't supposed to feel like survival. It's supposed to feel like safety. And until that truth sinks deep into your bones, you'll keep confusing pain for passion and calling it love. Her happiness is her responsibility. And until she takes that responsibility, she'll remain unhappy no matter who she's with, what he gives, or how much she tries to make it work.